webinar number 58 here. It's not quite 5:15. It's now 5:45 or 47. Andy Stapleton's gonna lead the choir.
Lead the choir. Oh no, I can safely say some of these guys can't sing because I know I can't carry a tune in a dump truck, so it doesn't really matter.
I can also safely say you haven't seen a choir in quite some time.
That is incorrect, sir. I have seen a choir. I was surfing the channels on the TV and ran across one.
That's what I thought.
So there. How's that?
What I want to talk about. Channel?
Yeah, well, no, I was just surfing, You're channel surfing. You can't spend more than 30 seconds on a channel when you're channel surfing. That's just the rules. Okay? We're going to talk a little bit this morning about the Developers Conference. First of all, just kind of an overview of what we're doing. One of the announcements that I want to put out there is that we're getting an old-timer. An old-timer for the Developers Conference. Some of you may know him or heard of him. Fabrice Harry, I believe that's or Hari or something like that. If I mispronounce and butchered his name, don't feel lonely. I do it to everybody. Fabrice has been around WinDev for like 20 years. He's like Pete and I and some of these guys been around our old language for that many years. And he knows a lot of the inner workings, how things moved up from the beginning and things like that. So he is going to be running most of our afternoon sessions there at the DevCon while Pete and I go over everything and how we managed to put this ChatterBox together and open questions and stuff for sessions in the morning and help people take portions of this and maybe put it in their own program or whatever they want to do. So that's going to be a very nice thing because you'll be able to network with someone that's been around WinDev since the early days, version 2 or 3 or something like that is when he first started. He's also was a president at one time of the developers group out of France. He actually does speak English. I have talked to him, and it's not too bad of a French accent. So he actually spent a lot of time in Louisiana, so we can't very well fault him too bad since he spent several years in Louisiana. He should know how to speak decently. So other than that, I want to let that knowledge be up there. Yeah, we'll throw that one out on the plate for anybody, but we're glad to have Fabrice's input this developers conference, and you'll be able to ask him some of the questions that we may still be looking for answers for. If you do show up, he may know some of the answers for us, okay? Overview of what the ChatterBox is. When we started the Skype group, or when I started the Skype group way back when, I knew there was going to be a limitation, as put, a limitation of the Skype group on the number of people that could be there, the number of people that could contribute, and just general noise that would be in there since it's an open forum and basically continually typed. So people would start missing things, missing support, help and stuff like this. So a while back I had tried and started putting something together, and it just kind of got set aside because of being too busy, things like this. And last developers conference we were doing something else. So what I did, Pete and I talked about it, and Tim talked about it, and we decided to resurrect it and start looking about what we wanted to do with it and what we wanted to give our group, since now we're in the 150, 155 range of number of members, something to allow them to get a lot of dissimilar information together in one bucket. Because if you really look out there, when you look at different things and run around with different pieces out there, The one thing that's missing is kind of a mashup system that grabs everything. We've got a news group out there that is run by PCSoft. We've got the MySnip news group. I think there's another French-only news group. We've got the Skype chat for English. We've got a Skype chat for Spanish. I believe there's a Skype chat for French, maybe. I'm not sure, but I know there's a Spanish because I was in it at one time. Then we have all kinds of little websites and stuff like this. We got Pete's blog. I'm rebuilding my website and going to have somewhat of a blog, a monthly blog on that thing. So we got all of this stuff out here, plus the help and different things like this, and the chat rooms, and we want to try to get things together. We got our presentations like we're talking about now. We're doing now. All of this stuff kind of thrown in there in one shot.
Hey, we got WX Live too.
That's what I'm saying. We got our presentations we're doing now, WX Live. So basically what I want to try to do is give us a single web page, single website, desktop, and mobile system that will allow you to mash all this stuff up together and give yourself a single place to find the information you want to find. Okay? That's really what we're trying to accomplish here. So we're going to keep the chat. Okay, the chat is going to move into the ChatterBox instead. Okay, but it will allow you to sectionalize the chat rooms. In other words, we'll have a chat room for WD, a chat room for mobile, chat room for web. We'll have a chat room for general. So if anybody wants to joke about how somebody was doing something wrong with one of the other ones, they go into general. For just general BS, things like that, and that will all be saved. So you can actually search back through the history of our chat to find certain things if you wanted to find them. There'll be a complete news group set up. We'll do an RSS feed from the MySnip forum. We'll see whether or not that we can grab the NNTP feed from the PCSoft forums. We will look for anything else out there that may benefit us and put it in there as well. So we'll get all that mashup, plus you'll be able to enter in your own questions and get answers and look at it as a news group as well directly within the software. And you will be able to answer back things like if we got a mashup coming from PCSoft or a mashup coming from the MySnip, we'll be able to feed it right back. We're going to have to work with Guttner, I believe his name is, in Germany to do the MySnip form, but we'll see how things go from there. So we're trying to get a few things together from that. We have looked around, and I've actually found 4 or 5 APIs. And I'm going to talk to Arnold about Adobe Connect as well, that we are going to add into the chat room or the ChatterBox to allow us to do immediate screen sharing as well as presentations. So if Steve's got something to show me or Pete's got something to show me, he can hit one button on the screen and he'll start sharing his screen and he could show me immediately what's going on. Or if he wants to show a group of people, they can all come into a new chat room and he can show them everything just like we're doing here. The only difference is that other than Adobe Live, it won't be recorded because most every one of these are non-recordable. Okay. So that's the reason I want to talk to Arnold about an API to this to see if we can't fold it in too for our presentations. All of this throw on the fact that we're also going to do replication, and that's one of the biggies. We've been looking at the default replication out of WinDev. And they're making it bilateral, or they're making it go both directions here in version 18. So it is not hyperfile specific. I can replicate from Postgres to Hyperfile, Hyperfile to Oracle, Oracle to, MS SQL. So we're going to hold that in there too, because one of the problems we have is that just like in this group alone, we have people from all the way around the world. So what we're looking at is you're getting people like South Africa to host a server down there, or on one of their servers to hold a copy of the database in Hyperfile client server. So everybody in the South African area could get all the newsgroup and information and submit everything there instead of having to go all the way across to the U.S. Same thing with Stephen down there in down under. If he got an area or someplace down there, we could host a Hyperfile client server for everybody down under. And anybody else in the world, Wolfgang over there in Germany for Europe, whomever has an ability will be able to subscribe, set up their server and subscribe to the service. And basically what it will do is replicate everything to that Hyperfile, and then other people can actually access it instead of the main one. Chat will obviously be straightforward. Use it on web. That is all going to be done. And all of this is going to be done via web services and the replication. We're not going to use sockets. I decided that it would be absolutely cool if we could do it with web services instead, and I think it would work. I think it really would work, especially with the serialization, deserialization functionality. So the replication is probably one thing that I don't know how many people has gotten into, but I believe that it's important, especially if it works right. And so we're going to explore that. One of the biggest features that we're going to get in the middle of is we're going to be using common code base between the web, the mobile, and the desktop. So that means we're using classes because that's the only thing that can be common between the three. And what we're going to do, Pete and I went through this with that little demo we did with the situation display, where basically we use the same class with some tweaks for mobile through all three different environments. And by that means is that literally we were running the same code on the mobile as we were the web, as well as we were the desktop, which is really cool. It's something that allows us a lot of flexibility that way. And so we're going to be going down that path. There'll be a lot of instances, a lot of discussion of that. The main database will be Postgres, just for another reason that I expect a large volume of data, and I want to be able to get to it and do searching and things like this, and then you'll be able to replicate the Hyperfile client server. And I'm sure there's going to be several around that's going to replicate to that and deals. Now, where does this go for you? In other words, yeah, this is a great tool for me to use, but where can I do it? Some of the concepts that we're going to be working on in here would be the same thing as what you can put in your programs. If you have a desktop program and you're distributing it, there's nothing saying that you cannot put a chat button up there and have that instant chat like you do on the web, or have a screen sharing button underneath the help that when you go to the instant chat and you turn on the chat that you can't do screen sharing, and have them show you what's going on their computer. So if you have any kind of situation where you are distributing commercial products and things like this, that would be an utterly cool feature. So that means that we're going to be putting those into components. So that way you can plug them into other programs and grab them and move them to other programs just as well as used in ChatterBox. That is kind of where we're looking. Obviously throw a dime in anytime anybody's ready, but do we see anything there that is glaringly missing that anybody would like to see in that discussion? The floor is now open. What was that, shock and awe? Come on, Pete.
Steve.
What?
Andy.
Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead, Steve.
You hear me? Yeah, sorry. Are you saying that like the chat and everything would be handled via web services? All the communication would be handled via web services?
Yeah, because here's the deal. As long as you have the date, time, and UTC time format, you're going to have a background process that's going to go out there and ping to see if there's anything out there, to bring down to your machine. If you ever notice that when we're talking across Skype and somebody types you something, like if I type you a URL or something, it takes about a half a second to a second, then all of a sudden you hear a ding on your side. Thing says on the same on the other side, so there's a delay. There's always a delay. So it's going through their servers or doing whatever they're doing, either via socket or however they're doing it. There is a delay between getting it from me to you, and so far, even between Pete and I, it averages about a second. Okay, so I just had one of those late night epiphanies that says, okay, if I have the date, time, and UTC, which is everything is UTC, and you come online, all I have to do is send your last message in that group was this date, time. Give me everything greater than that. Okay? Send it in, and what you do is you get a listing now of all of the messages that you missed since the last time you date timed. Okay? And you'll get them back in a big serialization, deserializes into the array on your side, and we can store that locally if you want in the client server database. So I think it'll work beautifully because it also allows the same chat to be done on the web as well. And one thing, if you look at it, the example code is actually using somewhat like a web service for the example code for the web for a chat room. It's not using sockets. It's using a file. So I just said, why go through all of the heartache and the fussing back and forth of trying to get socket connections and things like that, when all I have to do is put together a structure, in essence, of what group you're in, date, when was your last message, UTC time, and a couple other bits of information we probably need from there. And I send that in the structure, and you get back a structure of everything from that group. And you get all the messages in UTC time. I think it'd be fantastic. I think it'll work beautifully.
So you're saying that within a chat room, you'll be able to start a thread about a particular question you have, and that will be live chat within that thread in that chat room?
That's correct. And what you'll be able to do is create another chat room on the fly if you want to. So if you get into a discussion, let's say you get into a discussion in the WD chat room or in the common chat room about sockets. What you can say is that, okay, I'm going to make this a new chat and just create a whole new chat room just to talk about sockets.
Okay, so you're not going to have it like the news group type thing where you start a thread on a question or something, and then you have that as a discussion reply to that and so forth.
No, not like a thread, not in a chat. I don't know if that's possible, but I think that would be.
Yeah, we're going to. The difference is you have both news groups and chat. That our problem now is we only really have chat, and chat is great for just hey, I'm stuck. I can't remember what's the name of this command. That's great chat stuff, but a detailed, I got a problem that is going to go back and forth for a while. That's a news group type thing. Now, and we're going to have both functionalities.
Yeah. Now, one thing you will be able to do is you will be able to grab the main question and whatever you want and drag it over and drop it on the news group and let it and it'll create a news group section for it. In other words, it'll create a tree section for that. So if you put up something on sockets and 2 or 3 people answer it, you'll be able to grab those and move them over to the news group as a new thread. I was thinking we wanted to do that. We certainly wanted to do that.
Right.
But yeah, chat is more for the one answer type stuff and the general socializing, so that we can get the meat into a news group that's easily searchable, and you're not seeing the chitter chatter that goes with it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's great. Drag and chat to news group. Yeah, yeah. And of course, when you do that, Wolfgang, you'll have to kind of clean it up because you may have some stuff showed up in the middle, but it should work out pretty nicely. It really should.
I like that idea because
and we'll be able to.
Many times you have sideline chats and all that type of thing, and if you clean it up and put it into a news group, that becomes really valuable.
Right. That's right.
Mm.
That's right.
So instead of having instead of having John Fleeg's a stream of consciousness constantly on the chat, that would go into a separate news area, would it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, news group area. We go into like beginner section, and they could have the tree of everything that he tried to do and everything like that, and go through it. Yeah. Of course, you can also post directly in the news group and let people answer it as well.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get it clear about this news group. See, there's only one. So what you're saying, there's only one. There's a chat room, and there's only one stream of chat, like there is now with the Skype group. So in a sense, the chat is like having multiple Skype groups under what you're calling group chat rooms or something. Is that what the idea?
Well, okay.
That's what the chat will be.
Okay, there'll be multiple chat rooms. Okay.
Yes. Okay. And within each chat room, it's just like it is now. Within each chat room, it's just like it is now.
That's correct. That's correct. So if I'm primarily working in WebDev, there's a chat room that'll be for WebDev. Okay. There'll be a common chat room. Okay. There'll also be a common chat room. But and we could go overboard. I don't want to have a chat room for every little thing because people won't ever get through too many of them. They'll end up in the common anyway. But you have a few major ones in there, like the WebDev is a separate deal, and mobile is a separate deal, and WinDev is a separate deal, and then a common, and you're fine. The news group themselves is just like.
I don't even know that. Yeah, I don't even know that really makes sense for chat room, because again, chat room is for the quick and all the socializing. As soon as you break that into multiple pieces, now I got to go look at each piece, which I'm never going to do.
Yeah,
much work. I'm really lazy.
We may start off with
news groups make sense breaking them up. Yeah, now there are multiple chat rooms. In other words, you can break off into a private chat.
That's what I'm saying.
The chat room.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between
as far as just the
sorry,
go ahead,
I'm just wondering what the difference. I'm just wondering what the difference is between a chat room and a news group.
Okay, a news
I don't see any
group
difference.
Chat room is all your general socializing, your quick questions, whatever. The news group is that threaded, technical conversations, no chit chat. We will be trying to limit the chit chat that happens in the news group area.
Okay, so if I've got a technical question, I'd post a thread in the news group like you would now in a network news type environment.
You're right.
Right. Okay.
Hey, Andy, one thing I don't like when I go to news groups is people announcing or asking questions in multiple ones, same question, because they want to make sure somebody sees it.
Well, I think that here's what I want to do with that, because I've seen the same problem, especially with web-based one. I really, really dislike web-based ones because of the way they're set up. Okay, you have no control over things. What I want to do for mine is I want to have you have all of the news groups, then you have a just in section. And basically what the just in section is it allows you to set which news groups that you want to read from, and then it will take all of the messages or all of the news group stuff from those that you just wanted to read, that you wanted to read from, and doesn't matter which section it is, it'll all show it there in a common area to you. Okay? And what that allows you to do is like, let's say we have 3 sections. We have WinDev, WebDev, and mobile. We have 3 sections there, and you sign up to look at all 3. and somebody goes in there and he posts something in mobile, and a guy posts something in the WebDev, two different questions. You look at your just in, and you'll see one from each section. You can answer it there, and it'll go back to the other one, or you can say just read, and that will never come back up. It'll always be in that section if you need to hunt for it, but it allows me to aggregate multiple news groups together in one list if I want to. Okay?
And how long would it keep those messages there? As soon as you've read them, they disappear. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they just disappear. They disappear from your just in. Okay?
Yes.
And it stays in the regular news group. But what it allows you to do is a common area that you can, if you're like me or Fabrice or Pete that's answering questions in 3 different areas, I really don't want to hunt for them. I'd rather have something I can quickly look through. Yeah, I can answer that one, I can answer that one, and I can answer that one. And I don't care whether it's in the web, the WinDev, or wherever the heck it is. Okay? I just want to have one deal. And this is, okay, here's the latest ones in. And then if I want to, and then the deal is you have a switch there that says monitor. So if you turn that on, any subsequent messages would always come back there. Okay? So what you
monitor the thread.
Yeah, you're monitoring the thread. So any other subsequent answers would come back to that just in.
Yeah, Andy, I would suggest that those 3 major areas or 4 major areas, general, desktop, web, and mobile, be color-coded so that when it does get aggregated, I can see yellows this one, blues this one, or whatever.
Sure.
So, I mean, for you, it would be really good,
Yeah, for me, since I'm colorblind.
Oh, you are?
Through red and green shades, I can see solid colors. I live in a 16-color world.
Yeah, so you can make it those basic colors, right?
Makes graphics cards, Chuck.
What a drab world.
Well, I'm getting better. Actually, you can learn colors. You know that, don't you?
Explains his wardrobe, doesn't it, Arnold?
It explains my wife gets my wardrobe. Hey, I'll go get my shirt.
Well, it's all black.
He
has a black hat, black pants, black shirt. True. All right.
Okay, we'll put those in. All right. So, that allows us to hunt for things. And since it comes from my snip and everywhere, we're going to get aggregates from a lot of different areas. Quite a bit of stuff there. So managing that is something that we're going to have to continue to do. The great thing is that WinDev 18 also has the tree view table for the web. So we're going to have the same look and feel for both the desktop and the web.
Just a quick question, Andy.
Yeah.
Okay. Just when you're talking about updating, are you going to be polling the regional and the main databases on a regular basis? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So if you've got about 10,000 users on it, you'll get 10,000 hits per second. Is that what you're saying?
To my server? Yeah, possibly, yeah.
Would that cause a bottleneck or something?
Well, part of the deal is that's only for the chat. If you're talking about the news groups, this is where the replication comes in. So let's discuss that for just a second. I post a message in the news group. Obviously, it's going in the U.S. news group. Then it'll get replicated down to South Africa, say over to Europe and to South America. Australia. So what happens there is that you won't see the message because you subscribed your news group to Europe. Until that moves to Europe, you won't see it. Okay? So once the replication happens there, let's say we got the replication happening every 10 minutes or something like that, then in 10 minutes, all of a sudden you see that there's new news group items there. And you may even see an answer or two right off the bat. Okay? But that's when you'll see it, is when you're subscribed there. Now the chat, different matter. Because the chat is fluid, it's a constant fluid thing, then that is in essence being sent and being replicated in history is more the case rather than anything else. You're actually going to send your answers direct to the web service, but you'll get your history will be localized.
So, Andy,
Yeah.
I have a question. You know me, I like to edit my comments or actually remove them sometimes.
No, not for you.
Well,
that's going to be a user-by-user basis, and Pete said turn that off for you.
Then I won't even participate then.
We'll have to have that, because as you can see, I've really made a mistake in this chat. I said, that is great, dagging the chat. No, I was trying to type dragging, but anyway. We'll have to have that. Hey, Arnold.
You're dagging into the chat.
Yeah. It's going to be a problem.
Well, we need that, and we need to have where you can, it shows that you did edit it.
Yeah, like Skype does.
So there's a time.
Like Skype does.
Yeah. Because, and sometimes people...
So, Andy, I'm just interested in your chat. You're saying that the chat, like Wolfgang was saying, it'll all come via the US server with the chat. Right. Is that how it'll work?
You're going to be sending it to that, and you'll be getting your messages back from there. Yes, because I don't see any way to make that fast enough except doing it that way. Okay.
Right. So I'll type a response off to somebody, and 10 minutes later I'll see it pop up in my server.
No, you'll see it almost immediately. Now, as far as history, when you're talking about history, basically at least once a day or once every 2 or 3 hours, we'll take the history of all the chat and I'll move it to the server so you'll be able to search through history locally.
Right. I'm still confused though, because if I'm typing, I see a question, somebody's typed something and I want to answer it, then when I type it,
yeah, that's what Andy was saying.
I see what I'm typing immediately, and then it gets sent to the US. How does the other person in South Africa get to see it?
Okay, they're going to be polling, doing serialization just like you do behind the scenes, say every 5-10 seconds or so, whatever time frame that they want to hunt for messages coming back. They can do it every second like they do with Skype now. Okay.
Right. Well, so that'll be popping your server.
Right. It's going to be popping the server up there to say, do I have any more messages since this UTC time, and just bring them all down at once.
Right. Okay. And so your idea then is, unless with that chat, that's not going to get archived locally.
No.
That chat. Okay.
Well,
that's why you're talking about the history.
Well, there's two types of history.
Yeah, the history will be right.
There's two types of history that we're kind of talking about here. Number one is what I call the kind of let's go a repository or a global history of the entire chat that's going to be in a server, so that way somebody just coming in and hasn't been here for 6 months can search through it to find things. Okay?
Yep.
Those would be distributed just like the news group. Okay?
Yep.
And there'll be a section in there that says chat room history. So they'll be able to go to that, see every bit of the history, and search for whatever they want. That gets distributed. Mm-hmm. The other type of history, let's say your local history, what you're typing in, I'm in this news group, that is going to be stored locally in just a hyperfile, common file to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a bit like Skype, you have the last few days, months, weeks, months kind of thing. And that'll be local. Eventually that will get to a point and expire.
Well, what we'll do is we'll probably in a set of settings, we'll have that set up to say you want to keep the last 2 months or last month. And then just have it delete anything past that. But like again, the one thing that everybody's talked about is that, okay, well, several months ago, put this guy in, the guy just joined. He has, we're answering the same questions because he can't search back through the chat. Okay?
Mm.
And so in this way, you've got a section over here that says past chats or history of chats or whatever, and go in there and you can search through every one of the chat to say, I'm looking for things with WebDev 16 and show, do kind of like a Google search through the whole thing.
Well, that leads me to my next question. Were you planning to have this repository accessible by Google?
I can put it on the list. I don't know.
Yeah, the news group section will definitely be SEO friendly.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm not, you know,
the chat,
the
more than likely not.
Chat rod doubtful.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, the newsgroup stuff should be. The other stuff, yeah. There's too much junk and whatever in the other anyway.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
So who's going to edit out?
Emoticons, not first. Emoticons, not first revisions.
Oh no. Hey, so Andy, so that we can get through junk, I mean, emoticons and like, good morning, how's everybody? I mean, how was your tequila? I mean, that kind of stuff. How do you get rid of that stuff?
Well, there'll be a common open chat for that. I mean,
but in forums, people sometimes people put in but sometimes people put them in forums. How can we make sure that shit gets thrown out?
You're not. You going to spend the time doing it, Arnold? I'm not.
No, I mean, I guess you can ask people to follow guidelines, but well, you're going to do searches anyway. We're just going to do searches anyway.
That's called community policing.
I mean, one thing about it,
community policing. If the community doesn't want that in the news groups, let the community beat them up.
Yeah, it's kind of like this: is that the chat room is going to be quick answers. I can't find this command. Well, here's the link to go get the command.
What's the equivalent for that?
Okay, it's not going to be is that how do I use a class in this method? That's going to be a news group thing. And it's going to take a little bit of training with these guys or with all of us to say when somebody puts out there says, you know, I've got this combo bucks and I'm trying to do this and I have no clue how I'm doing. And what you can say is I'll try to give you an answer now, but let's move this to the news group as well. I mean, you know, you move this over to the news group questions as well, and let's get it answered both ways.
So how can we, like, if I'm in the chat and somebody asks a question and maybe I saw it answered like 3 weeks ago, is there a way to quickly find a link to that forum or whatever and say, go here?
We're going to have to try to figure out how to do that.
Because then you minimize the talk and say, just go there, and it's easier.
The only thing I can say is that that's something that I want to do, but I haven't quite, in my mind, figured out a way to make it, to do it.
Can you do it like under words, you know, search for words or phrases in the groupings in the chat or the news group?
I'm going to try to do that. The big question is that, and it may take you know, 3 or 4 of us to figure it out how to do it, and different ideas is the reason why we're discussing this in the first place. Is that if I want to have a little search me section up there that says put in these keywords and find it anywhere. I want to find it in the chats, the news groups, wherever I've got it. Okay, so that way if I put in there like John just posted up list seek. Okay. And you know, how do I use list seek? Well, it can bring up every news group message that's been out there since dirt on list seek, and it can bring up all the chats down list seek, and you can just have a listing there. You can go through and get your question answered before you ever ask it again.
Andy, talking about that, like you say, you do a search, and then you end up getting every word in it, which might not even be relevant to the question you ask. I've seen like some other ones, like websites which frequently ask, they've got this thumbs up and thumbs down. And the guy asks a question, and then people vote for it if it's the right answer or not. So that could also
rate it,
and maybe make it easier for kind of putting it all together. I don't know.
Yeah, because you can sort it by relevance. Not relevance.
Early in the morning.
Relevance. A-A-A-L-A. Relevance.
I'm spelling it like.
And then the other question is, how do the community police the news groups, etc.? Similar thing with relevance flags, up and thumbs up and thumbs down. there's a little button which you can say not appropriate, and you click on it, and if there's enough people who click on it, if say it's 10 of them, which unique IP addresses, click on it, and it just removes that rubbish. I don't know, something like that.
So what Steve said was you go do the search, which is to say go search for this word, but you can say search for this word, or can we give them an ID number maybe? Like we do a search and we can go, is there a button to say copy the ID, and then you just drop, paste it in.
Huh?
Okay, so every forum listing, right?
Right.
Every item should have an ID number of some kind, right? Like a forum ID.
Sure.
And so if I wanted to pinpoint the top of a thread or in the middle of a thread, and it says from here down, makes sense. It says, go to this thread starting here, and I could, in the quick chat, say, put that ID, and I can click, and the person could click on it and get the link to that forum ID, and boom, he starts the thread there, and he reads from there down instead of the bullshit before that or something. I don't know.
Now, so in other words, if you find it over there, you can just say, copy to Dylan, and what it'll do is like here, click here, and if he clicks there, it pops him to a screen with that thread forward.
Yeah, starting there, yeah. And if you wanted to go back, you could back up, but at least start there.
Points him there. Yeah.
Forward and backwards, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, understand this, everyone. I want everyone to understand. We're going to write down every idea everybody has. I got no problem with that. Not likely all of it will be in August. But this is an ongoing development.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, because
this is a
the more
community.
ideas we get together, the stronger the product will be to the end result, which is going to make it want to be used. That's the thing. Pointless to develop something.
The whole idea is
because it's irritating.
Yeah. Well, they're good features for usability.
I'll put the lawyer speak on. No one particular feature is being promised, or the code for said feature being promised for DevCon. We are going to have some cool stuff for DevCon, and we're going to show you how we did it and share the code. Now, what that cool stuff is, it's all related to this stuff, but as we get into it, we may decide to use this API instead of that API, or we may decide to do this feature, not that feature. So don't go out and sign up a client today promising them you're going to have communications with X API in August, planning on using our code in August to do that.
That's an important legal fine print, because we've got that issue before.
Okay.
Yeah, we have.
That's crazy. Okay.
It was not bright. Not bright.
I would think common sense would have been there anyway.
I gotta go. It all sounds good.
Now, here's one other key.
It sounds good.
Yeah, okay, here's one other key thing I want everybody to know. We're going to be using components quite a bit. And there's a particular reason why we want to use components. Okay? Number one, as this moves forward, this is an open source project. Okay? There's going to be certain rules with the open source project. And those rules will be, the fact is that if you can make a component out of it, you do so to add it to the project. So if Steve comes up with a whiz-bang, hey man, this would be really, really cool to do, Andy, he can adjust either an existing component or create a whole new component to do whatever he needs, whatever he wants to add to the system, and then we throw it in, and all of a sudden now, if anybody says, hey, I like that component in my program, they can take just the one component with them. Okay? But it is open source. I really, really expect and truly expect that we will see contributions from us. We will see contributions from the Spanish group and for, the whole Spanish section that can be put into here. We'll see multi-language components for French, non-English, English, all different areas in here, and see this expand. But I fully expect that everybody can contribute, and we just need to kind of put up the rules of how those contributions are done. Okay? And I really want the components because that's the easiest way in my book to tie things together without stomping on somebody else's code.
So are you going to have some kind of plug-in type of capabilities then?
Well, it's not so much plug-in. I mean, there'll still have to be a common library, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so. I'm laughing at my wife. She's fixing to run off with my uncle to go do garage sales, and she sees a $10 bill in my hand I'm trying to give her, or the 100 in my wallet, and she's taking the 100. So everybody knows what a wife does, right? It's a 10 if she covers up 110. Yes, dear. Okay. There went that.
Well, I've been expecting her to run off with somebody, but I didn't think he'd be your uncle.
Well, 74, she don't have to do much, and he's got more money than I do. Anyway, so as we go through this thing further, I mean, generally put out ideas and stuff anytime somebody has one. I want to add as many things as we possibly can. Now, Sunday afternoon, and I'll get with Arnold on what exact time, but Sunday afternoon we're going to be going through basically some of the code that's already been done, okay? And that will be the first release of code, which is in essence going to be more database layout, stuff like that. We're going to be releasing code once a month, whether anybody likes it or not. We're only going to be having the get-togethers where we could go over the code and demos and stuff like that about every other week. If there's major code significant changes in that, we could release code at that time if we want to. But mainly it's going to be once a month, so every other section. It'll be every 2 weeks we'll have a deal, so we can go over what we've done so far as a review and any questions and answers on what code we're using, especially when we get into the APIs and things like that. Web services and stuff like that, so we can see how all that works. And then code release once a month. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The only ones that gets the code, obviously, is those that have signed up for the DevCon. But the sessions will be open. Whether you signed up for the DevCon or not, you're more than welcome to step in, put your 2 cents worth in, figure out what we're doing, help yourself however you wish. You just won't get the code. Nobody will get the code that is not part of the DevCon until after DevCon. And that may be January before I release it finally. So, I know.
Hey, put the legalese on that. Put that legalese on that, Pete.
Yeah. Well, the idea is because I know there's people like Steve and Wolfgang and some that may not be able to come from overseas because of just flat expense, and I just think it's being rude not to allow them to put in their 10 cents worth.
25 cents. 25 cents.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks, Arnold, for putting some value on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, appreciate that. That's good.
Yeah, so certainly want all the input because it is a community thing. Those that are coming to the Gatlinburg DEF CON, it's a blast. There's just no way around that. We've been doing in our other language off and on these ETC conferences there for years. It's always been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of networking and a lot of learning, which has always been great. Gatlinburg is in the Smoky Mountains, which is a beautiful area. We will have a Saturday barbecue, which I'm smoking brisket all day long.
Brisket, man. Brisket. My favorite.
Belinda has promised to make sufficient amount of baked beans to make everybody just sick. And I can promise you, she makes some of the best baked beans you ever say. Take back things you ain't even stole. So we'll have that too, which will be great. And the week will be filled with learning the different things that we're doing in the morning, questions and answers, going over presentations of why did we choose this one versus this one, what's the best methodology we use to do this versus this. We may even add pieces on during that week. We'll see. Afternoons, Fabrice will be going through different things that has happened over history to now. He will actually go over using ActiveX in WebDev. He will go over using .NET in WebDev. So he's going to have a few things there too that's not going to be part of our bi-weekly thing that people have been asking about. What we kind of asked him to do was pull some of the stuff from the news groups and some of our questions and things like that and come in there and show how to make it work. So there's going to be some added value there.
And don't forget 2 days of boot camp if you
2 days of boot camp with Glenn if you're fresh and need to restart. So all the newbies can go there. And
which is a good idea, just so that you can enjoy the rest of it with some kind of foundation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I would say even for the cost of going to the boot camp versus Gus's normal training class, even if you're not a newbie, you're going to pick up Gus always has these little gems and stuff that
but not Gus, Glenn.
I'm sorry, Glenn.
Glenn.
I've got Gus on my screen. Sorry. Glenn always has these tips and tidbits that just silly little things like time savers in the IDE that I know I've picked up 5 or 6 from him that saved me an hour a day. So at the cost of the camp, if you can come for those extra couple of days, even if you're not a newbie, you're going to get your money's worth.
Yeah, and he's been developing some new stuff for his thing there, CSVs. That CSV import is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And he's, when you give him comments, he adds to it.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, is there anything else anybody wants to add at the moment?
Nope, that looks good.
To any of these areas? So we're kind of off and running. This will be using a ribbon bar. We won't do Windows 8 with the blasted thing.
No Metro? No Metro?
No Metro for this. No Metro. We use the ribbon bar.
So when you're going to release the first compiled one for general use? When are you going to release the first compiled one for general use?
Probably right at DevCon. Or shortly afterwards. It'll be real close by then. We'll actually be testing the chat and things like that within a month.
Okay.
Between us, we'll be testing chats and stuff like that with us. Because we have to put together the database first and the web service second, because in essence everything's running out of the web service except for the replication. Because the thing about it is when you're using that common code base, one of the smart moves is not to have direct access out of one and web service out of the other. Make them all web service. That way you have a common code base for your data, period.
Makes sense. Okay.
And with that situation display, it worked beautifully. I mean, it worked great, didn't it, Pete?
Absolutely, yeah. Once we got the first one done, the other two, all it was, and really the web, I literally dragged the table, said convert this to a looper, and I was up and running. The mobile, it took a little longer because there's some extra limitations of mobile, but really, the only time we spent on the other two platforms was for the specific features that were native to that platform.
Yeah.
That's really what we wanted to get to, and that was kind of a proof of concept for a couple of reasons, and it was it was really neat to be able to do that because we managed to go a long ways with it.
Mhm.
So that proved that we could do it, and which means that this ought to run good. Ought to be pretty good about it.
Or be good at it.
That's right. You got it.
Anything else? God, this is exciting.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, anybody can certainly jump in out on the common news group. I'm going to post out there that suggestions for the ChatterBox is wide open. Arnold, let's make sure we got that suggestion out there.
Which one?
That the suggestions for ChatterBox is wide open. Okay.
Yeah.
We will be putting in a separate section in there for advertisement and downloads. Okay. So that way, source code, Pete and my open source stuff will be able to be downloaded straight from it as well.
Hey, Andy?
Yeah.
If people want the source code before, can they pay something? Say they can't get there, and they can't wait till January. Can they subscribe to the DevCon somehow to get the source code?
Well, they can certainly pay to go to the DevCon, and whether they show up or not, it doesn't matter to me, but I'll have to talk to Tim about that, because part of it is we also got to look at the fact that, we're putting out money for the developers conference, and we need to have bodies there. So, let me check and see whether
I mean, they should pay if they want the privilege to have it early, right?
Right. And it's not so much the
examples and all that too, right?
Yeah, it's not so much the pay early to get the the software early, because eventually everybody will get the software if they want it. It's just a matter of whether or not that they need something, a certain piece of it quicker, and I don't know how to do that right at the moment. I don't.
Quicker in example code to make it work rather than just the source code.
I don't particularly have an answer for you at the moment.
Okay. Just thought I'd throw it out there so people that might be asking see this. Okay, you ready to call it quits?
Y'all be good at it. We got things to do.
Thanks.
Talk to you
Thank
later.
you very much.
Last night.
You're welcome.
Bye now. Hey, Wolfgang, have a great weekend.
Thank